Very cool. All right. Happy Friday afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another Fanatics Friday happy hour slash lunch and learn happy hour on the East Coast. Cheers. Got the Sazerac going today. And really excited. Got a cool guest with us today. Got Adam, longtime friend of Joe and mine, and kind of another big time affiliate industry veteran, been around for a long, long time, doing some really good work on the affiliate management side and SEO. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Before I jump into Adam's stuff, let's go ahead and just remind everybody if you are a Dodgers affiliate, Gold Collection, Gold program just went live a few minutes ago, so you should be promoting that. So definitely get out and do that. If you're an NFL affiliate, the draft hats went live this morning, so opportunities to generate some revenue. So go ahead and get after that stuff. If you have any questions on it, feel free to message us. Also, if you check in the chat, there's a link to go ahead and sign in. We're going to be giving away some prizes with the trusty Wheel of Fun. So go ahead and sign up on there. Just put in your name and your site, and we'll give away some gift cards and stuff like that. And if you ask questions that are cool, we'll go ahead and probably throw some gift cards your way as well there too. So, but let's go ahead and get started. Adam, welcome. Thanks for joining us, man.
Thank you for having me.
But so we're going to talk about SEO today, and I think this is really kind of key for our program, in that we don't allow any paid promotion. Really, we don't allow PPC or any kind of a lot of buying traffic other than boosting posts into your own Facebook groups and stuff like that. So people pretty much have to be able to come by free traffic. So let's talk a little bit about SEO and kind of the importance of it for affiliates, and kind of what should people be thinking about when they're putting together their site.
So, one of the biggest things that I think affiliates could win with on SEO is providing solutions. So, instead of just trying to show up for what's a good sports team, you said the Dodgers. So, like, that doesn't necessarily mean a good sports team, but basically,
Good enough last year.
basically, instead of just trying to show up for, oh, someone said they can't hear anything. Uh, Basically, instead of just trying to show up for Dodgers jerseys or Dodgers merchandise, you could instead try to show up for a sizing guide and creating one, or you could start to show up what makes a really good Dodgers gift, or how do I buy a gift for this. And what you're doing there is you're kind of building yourself as an authority if you're not a sports site or a sports fan site. And from there, you're providing solutions that make sense, and you can potentially get a newsletter subscription. You can also sit there and optimize. So if you have a little league site or a baseball site for a company sports team or softball, you can start to create solutions like how do I get you can do training drills, and you can make money with agility ladders and different sports gear and build up a list. Then as seasons start, you can actually segment that list out by city and places where people live, and then show different merchandise. Like we have the Nats here in DC versus the Dodgers in LA, and you could just email Nats gear to that. And what you're doing is you're building yourself as an authority that keeps people coming back by bringing in that traffic. So let's type in, yeah, I mean, it's just how can you provide a solution with, I forgot I'm not sharing my screen, but how can you provide a solution to people that will build loyalty and turn yourself into an authority, and from there you can make money after. You could always try just optimizing for product plus team name, which is great and it'll make you some money, but a lot of other people are going to do that, and there's no incentive to subscribe to your site if all you do is review products. But if you provide solutions with them, then that works. Or like gift for wife who loves the Penguins or something like that. This is now you're providing solutions, and you can build gift traffic and gift relevance.
Right.
So it's really just about that. My preference is always to go after something sustainable, like baseball drills, because you're building your audience where you know people are fans of baseball and they play baseball. Chances are they're going to be into baseball sports. You can also sell cleats. You can sell all that other stuff. There's just tons of ways you can make money.
And that gets into a couple things that I talk about quite a bit. Number one being, if you're going to, answering questions for people, because a lot of people interact with Google, they'll jump on and they'll type a question into the search bar in their browser. So Google is in the business of finding answers. So if you're the one that's providing the answers, you're providing high quality answers, good relevance. Google's going to steer more traffic to you, and you're also going to build that authority. And the authority goes into the why. And so, I mean, there's anybody can spin up a site that puts up a bunch of product, but the question is, why do people care? And so if you haven't won that trust, and if you haven't, kind of positioned yourself as an authority and given people a reason why they want to shop for you, there's no reason that they're necessarily going to do it, right?
Correct. And then the next thing is, if the questions are already answered and the answers are good, how can you just do it better? Most people don't pay attention to formatting. They just give a really good answer. So if it is steps in the process, like if it was a specific drill, I'll just stick with that. What you want to do is create an ordered list. And all that means is you put an OL tag with the open caret, like closed caret alligator mouth thing. And then you do li inside another HTML tag, and you're building your list. What this does is this signals to the search engines that this is a step-by-step list of something, and then you can apply how-to schema with that as well. Almost all plugins can do that, so you don't actually have to know how to write JSON LD. You also want to put that question inside a header tag like an H2 or an H3. It's very easy to do. You just do the open alligator mouth H2, closed alligator mouth H2, put a quick little blurb. In order to do this drill, you'll need X, Y, and Z. Then follow these steps. Now you've created a better answer than someone who just answered it in a paragraph. And by doing that, you may be able to take their position in the people also ask in the featured snippet, because your answer is easier to absorb and more clear, more easy to understand for a spider in a search engine.
Well, let's talk about tools a little bit. What are some of the tools that you use or that you recommend, both from kind of a discovery perspective in terms of kind of finding the terms that you want to go after, and then also in terms of like tools do you recommend on your WordPress powered sites or whatever else you might be using to help you kind of optimize more efficiently?
So for WordPress sites specifically, I use Schema app to deploy all schema. I do not trust Yoast or Jetpack or any of the others with that. They just don't have enough information and ability to execute properly. Schema app is a paid app though. It's like 300 a year. It's absolutely worth it. I really like SEMrush. Ahrefs is a good alternative to it. And let's see, I use Sightbulb and Deep Crawl and Screaming Frog to crawl through the site and find cannibalization. And I don't know, I have about 20 to 30 different tools I use weekly. But those are the
What
ones I start out with for WordPress based
what do you
site.
mean by cannibalization, Adam?
So cannibalization can mean a few things. One, if you have 10 different posts that are all Dodgers versus Mets, basically they're going to be competing with each other. So how do you figure out which one is actually dominant? And then how can you figure out if they're actually competing with each other? The way that the first thing I look for on that is, are the posts all hanging out on maybe page 4 and 5 of the search engines, or are they one on top of the other? That means there's probably not a good definition, or neither one of them is providing a full solution. So what I might do at that point is combine them all into one and put the most recent on top, kind of like you do with a podcast, the most recent podcast on the top and then all the previous ones below. You do have to be cautious because your page is going to get very heavy. So you could paginate. You just want to make sure you're not using massive images. Oh, another good WordPress plugin is Imagify and WP Rocket. One's for caching and others for compression on your images.
I'm gonna have
And
to get a list of those from you so I can post it in the show notes, because
do you want
you're
my
throwing out a
affiliate
lot
links
of
for them
stuff
too?
that's all really good. Sharon had asked SEMrush over Moz. What's you?
It's not that Moz is bad. I just have a personal issue with someone that used to work there. The tool's great and all. My biggest issue with Moz as a software system is that they try to scare you. They love sending everything's on fire when in reality it's not. And it's something you really don't even have to worry about. If they would tone down their language and prioritize things better, Moz would be a tool that would be on my radar as something to recommend. I have a couple of clients that pay for enterprise accounts. The one gave me access 5 years ago. I've logged in twice in 5 years, and it was to turn off notifications. There was nothing useful because everything's listed as a flag and a fire. I also get really annoyed, and this is personal preference. I hate their DA score. Everyone thinks it's an actual Google thing, which it's not. It's just a Moz score. It's not that it's bad. It's a good way to try to determine things, but DA literally is useless and meaningless. It's just a Moz metric, like a toxic link score from a different tool. So it's just That's what annoys me about it. And it's not that it's bad. It has some decent data. It has a lot of its rankings are okay, but I mean, there's other alternatives. You're going to be fine there. Just take it with a grain of salt when you see something flagged as an emergency. I mean,
Sorry, Joe, I
SEMrush
cut
does
you
the
off.
same. The SEMrush data has started to get worse versus better, but that happens cyclical as they update their software. Of course, there's going to be things that break. Ahrefs expanded their database recently, and it's pretty good. But there's other tools in there that aren't as accurate. So it's just kind of knowing your stats, knowing everything there. I mean, Search Console is always great. They're building it out more so you can get more data from it, including all of the queries that go by page now. So that was a nice feature they added back in.
Well, Joe, did I cut you off there?
Does that answer the question, or did I go a little too off?
What do you think, Sharon? All good? Yes, perfect. Okay, cool.
For me personally, yes, SEMrush over Moz, only because I hate Moz emailing everything's on fire. But the reality is, between the two, it's whatever's going to be easiest for you to use, and whatever's going to be the easiest for you to pull data out of. That's the real kicker there.
Cool.
So kind of going off that everything's on fire thing, I know in a few different posts, whenever there's a big Google update, you put out, don't do anything. Go have a drink, take a walk, don't do anything. Why do you say that?
Because there's nothing you can do. Google always rolls back and updates over 2 weeks. So if you get hit initially, you might recover magically within a few days. If you changed everything, now you have to go figure out what you changed and change it back, and then it's just going to go. There's absolutely nothing you can do. Search Console takes 2 to 3 days to catch up with you, so you can't even see how they're crawling you if they're still downloading the same amount of pages and bytes. So basically, there's literally nothing you can do. I would just tell clients continue on your current path. If in 2 or 3 weeks things still go bad, then we'll address it then. We'll also see how your competitors do. And if you're going to adjust now, the positions in Google, so like if it was sports gear, for example, in the top rankings, those top 10 could shift pretty substantially. Maybe they're now featuring pages that have a lot more content, like articles from Good Housekeeping and Men's Health and other publications. But that's probably going to shift again because maybe the new query is both contextual and product based. So all of a sudden, you're going to see Dick's Sporting Goods show up. You're going to see Academy Sports and some of these articles, excuse me, from different stores like the NFL shop or redskins.com or something like that. And so that's why you have to wait. You have to see what's going to be there in 2 weeks. Then you reevaluate the top 10 results. You say, okay, why did these get moved up? What disappeared? Then you compare, okay, these ones all have some really good text here. It's all themed around this. You also want to look to see what happens around it. Are there more product recommendations? Is it just textual PPC ads? Because what you're trying to do is discover what Google feels the intent of that specific search query is. So if all of a sudden product ads and PLAs show up, you know Google feels this is more of a shopping term. That's big money for you as an affiliate if you can get it back. If there's a lot of content articles that showed up from magazines, that means probably content was a good portion of what they were looking for, and users wanted more content for this query. So what you want to do then is up the content on your page, make sure you have some form of shopping experience, and now you can compete with the major media sites and beat them.
And get that ranking for content is not
That's why
necessarily
you have
bad.
to
And
wait for 2 weeks,
yeah, and showing
right?
up in that news feed can actually be big money because we have some of our like bigger media partner types that end up in there consistently. And it was funny, our SEO guys messaged us when we said we were doing a SEO webinar this week for affiliates and said, hey, make sure some of these big newspapers aren't in there because they kick our ass on a regular basis on hot markets. So not necessarily a bad thing if you're showing up high with just like you said, you got to make sure you got that shopping experience in there so that when people are consuming the content, they can also take advantage of the commerce opportunity.
Yeah. But you also have to have a reason for them to click and shop. Otherwise, you're
Right,
not going to make any money. It's like, okay, great, a product.
right. So make sure the
The
relevance
bigger
is there.
thing is how do you get them signed up to your newsletter? Because that's how you're going to make your money as the affiliate. Like if you bring them in just to check sports scores, for example, after a game, that's great and all. They're probably not going to be buying a product because the game's over and they just wanted to see the sports. They're not excited about a new like player or something that happened on the field. So why don't you do that and provide them with a great experience and say, we'll feed it out to you real time. We'll send you an SMS with the updates so you don't have to visit my site again, and then you can monetize later. Because now you have their phone number, you have their email. You can also set a remarketing pixel, and you could hit them as new merchandise comes out, as a new season starts. There's no reason you can't start showing ads. It's within the 365 days, so I believe that's compliant for most countries' laws. So as the next season, you send out the new gear, the new updated styles on a remarketing pixel back to your own blog or your own website. And now you can start making money off of it then. The goal is to bring in an audience and make them want to re-engage with you again later.
I think that's one of the things that a lot of people tend to overlook when they're getting started in affiliate marketing is they go out and they get themselves a good domain, they start putting out some good content, but I see a surprising number of sites that don't have an email subscription. And you need to find some kind of a way to get that opt-in from people, and then you need to make sure that you're giving them some high quality content so that they'll keep getting those emails from you, because in the end, that's something that can't be taken away from you. That's something of value that gives you the ability to reach out to them with targeted offers and information. And as long as you don't burn that list, that's something that you're going to be in good shape with, even if Google changes your rules down the road and you might lose some relevance or lose some positioning. But I'm surprised at how many times I look at sites that look good otherwise but don't have some kind of a subscription hook.
Exactly. It's also so the tool that I really like for email testing and opt-in testing is called Opt-in Monster. Syed Balki, I know you know him.
Yeah.
It's his tool, and he did just an amazing job building that thing. And what the most important thing for an affiliate is to know when to show an ad. If you are the store itself, like NFL Shop with you all, what you can show a pop-up for an email almost instantly because the people know they're going to get a discount. If you're just showing sport like game numbers and stats or a feed, you don't want to, there's no reason they're going to give you their email immediately. They haven't gotten anything from you or a reason. So maybe you want to show it after the person has absorbed and scrolled half the way down the page. If you gave the score at the top of the page, and then you also have content below with highlights and everything. Now they've absorbed your content and had a chance to experience it. So show it after they've hit that halfway down, the scroll mark. And now they have a reason to opt in, say, would you like the next play-by-play? To give us your email, and we'll just share it for you for just this team or just this sport or something like that, and test the wording. At the very bottom, after you have your author box, that's where a lot of people get the majority of their newsletter signups, not at the top right. People don't, after they've read a big post or they've seen a full post, they don't want to have to scroll back and remember, oh, I had an email opt-in. Give it to them right at the bottom of the post. You're going to get a much higher conversion rate there.
Let's talk about some other issues that I bump into. So what's the impact of site loading speed, secured versus non-secured, images on the site? You talk a little bit about some of the things that you see going wrong when you take over a site, working on that. What are some of the most commonly made errors that you bump into?
So speed's always something, but it's not an SEO thing. Technically, it's a ranking factor and blah, blah, well, not a ranking factor. It's just something Google will look at. The reality is you should be worried about speed for your end users, and you should be worried about the images for your end users. So if you are an image heavy site and you're selling like celebrity images and you're selling game images and things, what you can do is you want to create an image sitemap first off, not just a page sitemap, and that's going to help the search engines locate all of your images properly. Next, you want to name the images so they make sense. If it's Ken Griffey Jr. sliding, you want to name it Ken Griffey Jr. sliding into home, not just Ken Griffey Jr. Or if it's Bo Jackson dual sports celebrity shot, you would want to do that. And the more specific you can be, the better, because it's going to define what it is. You also then want to apply image object schema into the page so that the search engines know this is an image, this is what's in the image, and then you apply the description of the image too. You don't want to keyword stuff it, just be specific. The added benefit here is you've now also helped people that are visually impaired with ADA compliance because the browsers helpers they use can now read what's on the page and this is an image. And if you're selling that image, like if it's an eBay link, like an autograph, what happens then is they know if I click this image, it's going to go through and give me the thing that I'm trying to buy for someone as a gift. So you've now helped them and given yourself a chance to make money. Lazy loading images is fine, but it makes them not search engine friendly. So make sure your featured image is always not lazy loaded, it's just compressed properly. High definition is okay if it doesn't hurt page speed. Cumulative layout shift, I cannot say that to save my life, is a ranking signal starting next month. We have a few weeks. It is not a big one at all. If you are panicked about it, forget about it. It's not a deal. It's only for mobile devices, and they're constantly changing it. There is no definitive yes or no. There is a free tool you can use, but don't kill yourself worrying about it. Worry about providing the best user experience. If your bounce rate's low and you're just having a really good experience, I wouldn't even care about it. If you have extra time and bandwidth to worry about it, then go for it. If you don't, like most of us, do it when you can. Worry about your users and are you giving them a great experience? Does that help? There's
I
a
think so.
spider kind of like sitting above me, so if it tries to come down any lower, I am going to leave temporarily. My house
Okay,
may be on fire when you get back because it's a pretty big one. I'd rather just move.
there you go. So there's a question in the chat asking, asking kind of a more of a Twitter related question, but um, social media and what are are there things people should be thinking about with their social media channels that they're using that can help them out with SEO?
Social media has zero impact on SEO unless you have a brand name that other people are trying to optimize for. So, for example, if your site became a big brand and there's an active search volume for it, other sites are going to try to take your traffic. So, at that point, what you want to do is go into your schema and do same as and apply your Twitter account. And what's going to start happening is as the person types in your branded name, your Twitter feed's going to start showing up. And if you up and push their results further down, because the Twitter feed is directly related to your branded search. And now you've taken more of the space on the top, so less your competitors are going to have a harder time showing up for your own branded terms. I've actually done this successfully to large brands where I outrank them. And but the same as has to be your own accounts because you're building direct relevance from your website and your brand to your social properties. Okay.
Let's
It's
see what
really, really easy. I can just show you later how to do that.
sure.
Yeah, so you want to do same as to all of your social profiles, but they have to actually exist on your website. So make sure you have your Twitter, your Instagram, all of them inside the footer or somewhere. Excuse me. And then you just apply those same links over to in your same as in the schema. And that's how Google knows these are the same accounts. It's all the same exact thing. And this is my information. And that starts to bring it up. That's also one of the ways that Google used to find them, to put them in the knowledge panel or the knowledge graph. That's when you type in a person or something or a company and you see that big block of text over to the right. That's how the social icons used to show up. Google got a lot better at figuring out who's who, so it's not going to do that much anymore, but it does help.
Well, you remind everybody, there's a bunch of people that have come on since we posted initially, but if you wanted to sign in on the form that I just posted on the chat, we're going to do some giveaways at the end. So put your information in there and we'll throw you on the wheel of fun for some gift cards later. So let's open it up for questions. Does anybody want to jump on and ask a live question? Or Adam, would you take a look at a site and give people a quick read, or you open to
Sure,
that?
we can
Cool.
do that.
Does anybody want to jump in, throw a site out, and go ahead. Go ahead and unmute yourself and then.
Okay. So I fall all into these pitfalls right now, and unfortunately, my website is parked right now.
Horrible
but
shirts, by the way. Horrible.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to go put you back on mute.
There you go. Is that better? It's Fanatics.
That's even worse.
That's horrible. Disgusting.
So I'm just really trying to search for ways to make social media interesting for my team. And it seems to me like there is a way to make it beneficial, but there's a lot of people in my office chirping about social media is, other than dealing with influencers, kind of useless. And I'm just wondering what you would have to say on that point.
Well, okay, so first off, what do you mean by your team? Second of all, what's your goal with social media? Do you want more engagement? Do you want more exposure, more reach, or are you trying to make money?
Well, I mean, of course we want to make money, but right now our reach is expanding way beyond what we ever thought it was going to happen. So the attention is growing, exponentially, but my team is like trying to find out where we put the most energy. And it seems to me if we use the right way, we can get Twitter to work for us because everybody seems to be really happy with Twitter on my team. Yes, we are trying to make money, but ultimately we just really want, I mean, and listening to how you said answer the question and put it, that's all good. But you're telling me if we don't code this right on Twitter, it's going to be useless, right? There's no point
No,
in posting.
more on, I would say more on blogs and more like on WordPress powered sites versus necessarily on social media. That's just my opinion, but Adam.
Yeah, so the code that we were talking about isn't going to impact your ability or your reach on Twitter at all for any reason. It's just going to make your Twitter feed show up more predominant inside the search results for your own brand and your own branded search. So basically, what I would do on Twitter is I would look to see. So there's lots of chatter and lots of trolls and lots of people just going back and forth, which is fine and all. But which
Right.
ones are actually causing interaction? Which ones are actually gonna? I know that Fanatics recently left Share Sale, but on Share Sale, you could have done a parameter called aftrack equals. I forget how to do it on Impact, so Wade will fix that and correct it later. But basically, what I would do there is I would tag each one specifically with the topic, the date, and the time of day using that parameter. And I would look to see how many sales I actually make that reports in. I would also use that for newsletter subscribes, and I would use it for what the actual reach was. So you can apply it through a redirect on your website or into the affiliate network. So, for example, we could do a daisy chain redirect where we go in and we post to Twitter. It redirects through your own website, and then you have it tagged into your analytics where you say, okay, 50 people came in through this redirect on my site. You can even do pretty links or you can do bit.ly. Any of them will work. Then you put that to go into your affiliate link. So it would be adamreamer.me/post3, and then that autumn 301 redirects into my affiliate link, which redirects through the network and passes the network parameter in.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
just
So
posted the
now I
sub
have
ID.
website tracking, I have website data on who was actually hitting my site from this and engaging, which post, what the theme was, and what the topic was. And then I can also see, oh, and I made $50 off this. I can also split that onto my website and say, hey, go shop and buy this now or sign up for my newsletter. And I can also say, okay, because the UTM source, I know that these people are on my newsletter. You could technically open up two different windows. One, send it through the affiliate link and into Wade, and that way you now have the parameter passed in with the shopping thing, and you have a visitor on your website. So there's a lot of different ways you can pull your Twitter traffic. And now what you've done is you've defined, okay, I get it. We get a lot of reach off of these topics. I'm not making money. I'm not getting subscribers. It's just people talking. That's
Right.
important because it keeps us relevant. But we know if we need to make some money, if we have to hit our numbers, these are the topics we want to start throwing in. And then you can get really geeky and do your time of day and everything.
I just threw in
Also
the sub ID
scrape your
parameter, by the
Twitter
way.
feeds and figure out the hashtags your users are using. And then you control your users back and just have some fun with them by using their own hashtags. Like if they did 49 fail and they were just like doing that, you could do their name fail 49. And you have some fun with them back and just increase those social signals.
Okay. I like that. Social signals.
If you hit, the hashtag 49ers fail, that'd just be Joe and I talking a bunch of shit. So it's probably us.
We can take it. We've got 5 rings. We can take it. Your signal's breaking up.
I know.
Please repeat. Signal's breaking. Okay, I just want to keep listening. I'm fascinated with all this information.
Cool. A couple questions from the chat. Buck asks, sitemap. If I put both products and product categories in the sitemap, does Google see duplicate content?
No, because a category, so it's important to look at them the way that they should be. A product and the copy should just be about that specific product. A category, or if you're on Shopify or Magento, a collection, should be about the entire category as a whole. So if it was 49ers jerseys, then you would do the collection page or the category page as everything jerseys. If it's a specific style of jersey, that would probably be a sub-collection, and it's just about that specific style. If you mention 49ers jerseys, you would do an internal link upwards to the main collection, and that helps to say, if it's about jerseys in general, it's this. If it's a crew neck jersey, then it's just on this page. If it's a specific product, you want to just talk about that product. What is the material of this specific shirt? What is the style? Is it a crew or is it a V-neck? Is it an official jersey? Is it a specific sports player? Which year? What's the number on it? And so now you've defined them differently and clearly, and Google's and Bing and DuckDuckGo are much more able to determine which page is for what, and you won't run into as many cannibalization issues. If you have the same, now when you get to your product page, that's where you need to be really careful, because you can have that same shirt in 20 different colors and sizes, so the variants stay the same. You only want the official version inside your sitemap, and all the variants should be blocked. You should disallow it in your robots.txt, and you should make sure your canonical link on all the variants points back to the official version. So if it was Run for Recovery, like Wade's shirt in blue, black, and pink, the blue is the official color, since that's the one Wade's wearing. The black and pink one would have a canonical link that points back to blue, and only blue would be in the sitemap because that's your official. Does that help, Buck? Cool.
Well, Buck's other question is, I understand that Google does not consider tags. Should I continue to use tags?
You can use tags all you want. Just understand you're going to destroy your crawl budget, and they're really useless. Tags are thin pages, thin content, and they don't serve an actual purpose.
And that's changed over the years, because back in the day, they used to rank. You used to be able to pop on those OK, probably 5-6 years ago.
Just like PHP stores that would generate tens of thousands of pages of unique content used to rank really well. Snip was one of the people that did that regularly.
I was one of the people.
Joe might have done that too. Yeah. That's why he works here now.
Favorite conversations with him. But basically, actually, I had a really good conversation with Robert Glazer when he was just starting out. He was like, well, why do you think tags in PHP is going to fall? I was like, because it's thin copy. It's not a good user experience. It's a fast, easy one that spams the engines. Just like that stupid Squidoo stuff. That fell pretty fast. For tags, I no index, follow them in Meta Robots. The reason is you don't want to waste all of your pages, and you don't want to give those thin, bad experiences to users. You need to make sure it's follow, not no follow, because all the links in the tag are internal links to other pages on your website. And if you add no index, no follow, you've now said don't trust any of the pages on my site. They're all garbage. When in reality, it's only the tag that's garbage. Tags, if users are using the tags, if they're actively clicking on it. So on WordPress, you can use Mouseflow or Hotjar. Both of those are fine, and they're affordable, and you'll be able to see if people are actively clicking on your tags or not. If they're not using it, why even bother with them or worrying about them?
Let's talk a little bit about, actually, Sharon's got a question. If there are very similar products, example, jerseys for every player on a team, how different does the content on the page need to be in order to rank?
It's more about, is this the best possible experience? Have you given it, and is it for the end user? So if all you're doing is talking about the jersey, sorry. I really hate turning that off. It's 7:07, which is Napa Valley. And it means one of the wineries I love is calling me to give me a discount. Yeah,
Be tough not to take that call.
One to ignore. I kind of want to. Do you want me to put it on speaker? You can call him back. But what's it called? Sorry, what was the question again? I'm distracted by
if there are very similar products, example, jerseys for every player on a team, how different does the content on the page need to be in order to rank?
Okay, so jerseys for every player on the team are unique because people are looking for a specific jersey or a specific number. So they each could have ranking on their own. What you need to be, it's more of what do you want to be careful of. You don't want to have the same product description. You don't want to have the same everything across the bottom. Like, they're all going to be made of the same materials and everything. They're all going to do this. So you need to counterbalance that with enough unique copy about it. So think about this. Can you add in things about how player stats? Can you add in where the players are from, how they originate? Things that would make people really build that association. Started on this team and did this, this, and this. Then she did this and became this. Now you can wear their jersey at home, and you can build the content unique to each player like that. Total pain in the ass thing to do, but that's how you build relevant copy. And I've done this for every niche, no matter how boring it is, from a phone case to an enema. It's like I had to write descriptions for more than 50 types of enemas. And let me tell you, there's not that much you can do. And this is where everyone can go on with a shit pun because we flushed them all out on that call.
Okay. For
It was a
somebody that's
topic
just looking to get
conversation.
started with affiliate marketing, what are the top three, kind of top three focuses, I guess? They mentioned social, blogging. What else would you have in the mix if you were, advising somebody who's just getting started? And where should the content team spend the dominant part of their time? Should it be on developing content on stuff that you own? Should it be social media? Should it be a mix?
It's just going to depend what your business model is. If you're just starting, don't expect instant results. Go out and figure out where are you actually able to engage people. And then if it does turn out to be social media, what you want to do is, so I work with one company, they do about 140 to 180 million a year. They have no SEO at all. We've done it all through influencers and through brand recognition and other stuff. We're just looking at SEO now. And so it's like SEO is just one part of the marketing puzzle. Basically, figure out where you really think you're going to be able to engage and stay interested. And then what you can also start to do is bring people off of that one platform so you're not reliant on something that can be stolen from you and bring them into your own platform. And even if you don't have any natural traffic coming in, you're fine. I've seen other people have a lot of success using offline advertising. I met someone that was making seven figures just by putting lawn signs out, those stupid little dating signs that you see as you're driving down the road. That was an affiliate link on it. It redirected from the main URL. And that was a very wealthy person I met at Affiliate Summit.
I
And
think
Yeah, and that,
even along those
go ahead,
lines,
Joe.
focus on what you're good at. I have an affiliate site, and it does pretty good SEO wise. I suck at social. I'm horrible at being consistent and posting and getting engaging content there. So I don't do much of it. I mean, I have an Instagram and Facebook and stuff attached to it, but those are more just for fun. I don't really expect any monetary benefit to come out of those. Just 'cause I'm not good at it. I'm starting to get better at videos, so I'm seeing more and more pick up there, and I'm enjoying that. But I don't enjoy making the Facebook post for my affiliate site. So find what you are good at and what your users want and what they want to what they want to see. And if you're not good at it and that's all your users want, get good at it or hire somebody that's good at it.
I think that's really the key is like where are your users at? Because if you're trying to sell something that appeals to an audience that's primarily on Instagram, trying to find them everywhere else, you're going to be banging your head up against a wall. But if you can engage them effectively on Instagram and find a way to get them back to to what you're doing, I think you're great. I've talked for years and years and kind of bashed people over the head with it, but on what Adam said in terms of bringing people back into something that's yours and having something that you own, having something that where you can kind of base your brand, because there's a lot of people out there, and Joe's one of them, that can tell you what happens when you base your business on somebody else's free traffic that they can change, that they can take away arbitrarily. And Google, changes their rules. They change what they consider to be important. And one day you can be ranking great and getting all the traffic in the world for free, and the next day it stops. And that's happened several times. I know that like when Joe got wrecked, and you kind of knew it was coming too. I mean, you knew what the trends were and you knew what Google was talking about, but you just didn't have time to kind of react to it or didn't decide that it was important enough. And we had other people that were doing $500,000 a year or more in sales with like really thin, not super unique content sites working off data feeds and stuff like that, that Google warned people and then they didn't do anything. Google crushed them. They went from doing $500,000 a year to like $5,000 a year.
And don't
That's,
forget, it's not about digital only either. I have
yeah,
another, I can share another thing that I did a long time ago, and then I was able to replicate one or two more times if you want. It was all
go for it.
offline. So,
Yeah.
like, if you're marketing kids or college types of products, one thing that I've done successfully with college people, so QR code's actually what we did. And we found the popular kids, just a few of them. I actually stole this from Keds. They did this with a high school in a new shoe line. I think it was in the 80s or 90s. I found it. I was like, cool, we can turn this into like a 90s club kid thing. And what we did was we sent out some of the product to the popular people that they weren't always influencers. They were just the people that everyone wanted to talk to. And I gave them each 200 to 500 bucks depending on the city they lived in. Someone in New York City is not going to bat an eye at $200. Someone in Oklahoma City is probably going to go crazy for 200. So basically, we had to divide it up that way. And all we did was gave them some free product, whether it's a glow stick or an e-cigarette, which you shouldn't give out right now because it's bad and possibly illegal, depending on where you are. But just anything that would be trendy for the audience you're going for. It could be a sorority sister who everyone goes to her for the styling and fashion advice. You put a bracelet on her, and then we just sent them each business cards. If it was in the club scene, we gave everyone dating cards where they could do a date thing and we put the QR code on the back for a discount for whatever attracted them to that person, whether it was like the glowing light up eyes or something else. And it started to spiral out and people just started coming to our website naturally and organically after they figured out where to go. They did the QR code because people are drunk or high or whatever they're doing inside a nightclub at these days, darn kids. And it's weird to be like one of the people that's too old to go out to do that stuff now. But basically, what happens is the first few get it, they get up on their phone, they're like, oh yeah, I remember seeing that. And then they shop and they buy it. And then other people are seeing that. Where'd you get that? And they give them your domain. Of course, they're going to check it out on Amazon. So you want to make sure you are the only source until it goes viral. Then you can start selling in all the marketplaces and everything. But it's a really easy way to get them to go in there and do that.
Yeah, and Impact, by the way, their create a link tool does have a QR code generator. And so if you're creating a link to a product or a product page or a team page or whatever, or even just to like the main page, you can drop that on a business card or any kind of printed piece. So or something that you want to put up there digitally that people can just hit with their phone. So it's kind of a cool, handy feature. Cool. Other questions? What do people got? I do like that. Totally grassroots influencer kind of stuff before people called it influencer.
Yeah.
We're funny because we've been doing that here at Fanatics as well with bloggers and social media people. We've been doing stuff with influencers for 15 years. We just never called it that. And our influencers know how to sell stuff, whereas a lot of the ambassadors and stuff don't really do that all that well.
I've done some fun stuff. I work with a couple of adult clients, and it's definitely fun because we can't use mainstream at all. So we have to go with other channels. And
That's where a lot of the
really
creativity comes from.
really fun.
That's something I've always been interested in. I know that back in the day, Jim Lillig, who is a friend of mine, been around the industry for a long time. He used to work at MrSkin.com, and he did a session on Affiliate Summit on lessons that can be learned from adult. And adult and casinos are pretty much where a huge piece of the innovation in the industry comes from. Because there's just a lot of money in it, and smart people, can figure out ways to get after big traffic fast. And there's always interesting stuff you can take out of that space. Joe, do you have any other questions on? Actually, I had one. So data feed content and kind of pitfalls to using data feed content, ways that you can work data feed product content into your sites and not suffer from it. Talk a little bit about that.
So you can feed the data feed in, that's fine. You just want to write everything unique for your site. The data feed could update dynamically or a one-time use. The images, the product name, you wanted the data feed to update with accurate pricing so you have a good user experience and they still trust your site. But you want to make sure your descriptions, your alt tags, your titles, and everything else on all the features do stay unique. So you don't want to have those overridden.
Okay. And why is that? So why can't somebody just put data feed content straight up on their site and expect to rank?
Because it's the same content. It's not a duplicate content penalty at all. It's just there's nothing unique about your page or your site. So if you just have the same exact information that's existing elsewhere, then there's no reason to show you. And then at the same time, if you just have this blurb about a product and you also have a link to a store, guess what? That blurb came from that store. What's the original and what's the one that should be shown? Probably that store. You're not giving that store a backlink, but you are saying, I'm just taking the store's information. Click here to go visit that store and find the information in the official place.
No, good stuff. And I know that, that's something that's definitely changed over the years. It used to be possible to, spin up a data feed powered site in 30 seconds or less and be able to have traffic within minutes if you got a good, good exact match domain and, handle some of your stuff correctly. But
Or
definitely
you would
that time
just
is,
take your, sorry.
go ahead.
Or you just took your data feed and you would throw it through like the best spinner or another article spinner. And that way it would be quote unquote unique for your site and populate tens of thousands of unique pages off of the same data feeds.
Awesome. More questions for Adam?
When you're thinking about content creation,
Thought I was
um, are you a fan of? Well, I know with my site, what I try to do is I try to do some informational posts and I do some commercial posts that are just there to sell stuff, and other posts that are pretty much just there to give information. I mean, there's obviously affiliate links in those as well, but they're not specifically designed to drive a sale. They're more designed to drive interest, get backlinks, get shares on Reddit, get shares on Facebook or wherever it may be. Are you a fan of a content strategy like that, or are you more pick one focus and just go with that?
It changes depending on the situation and what my goal is. Do you have a specific example?
Not off the top of my head. I mean, like I said, that's kind of how I handle my site, and I was wondering if that would be something you'd recommend for other people.
So,
Or for like for example, the Niners guys that are here, they could do top 10 Niners gifts for Father's Day, top 10 jerseys for the coming year, and then also have thoughts on the different player trades and the free agent signings. They could have posts on stats. I mean, just kind of more informational content to go along with the commercial content.
so here's what I do. I'll just walk you through the process a little bit. How do I share my screen? We'll talk about Moot, Joe.
Yeah, up at the top of your screen, there you
Got
go.
it.
Yep.
So the first thing, so we'll do Wagyu beef, I guess. I've never actually researched this ever. And so I
I
know that
have.
I have a meat site, and maybe Wagyu beef is a category I just feel passionate about, and I want a lot of Wagyu beef and a tax write-off for it. So I'm going to build that out. So the first thing I do is I want to figure out what's everything and anything with Wagyu beef. I know there's going to be sales copy, like I want to show up for people looking to buy a pound of it. I want to also cater to people that want to spend a lot of money on it, people that are looking for it at a discount and where to shop on the discount. For the discount people, I know there's going to be a regular search for current deals. There's also just going to be to know where to go and subscribe on a regular basis. There's also going to be people looking for the history. Why does it cost so much? That's more informative. And if someone's looking up the history and why it costs so much, they're either from like PETA and looking to bash you, which can give you some really good backlinks, or it's someone that's actually really interested in meat and wants to know what they should do, what it should taste like, how they should prepare it. And so I'm going to take that and I'm going to break that out into different silos. I'm going to have my information silo, my backlink and link page silo, and I may even do something specifically to piss off the vegan and vegetarian sites just so they source me and send people to me because those backlinks are going to help boost up the rest of my website. And then I'm also going to have my shopping pages. So the first thing I do is I go to an incognito. Well, I go into a keyword tool like Keyword Planner. SEMrush has one, BrightEdge has one. Ahrefs has one, Moz has one. It really doesn't matter where you go. And I would type in Wagyu beef, look up all the big search volumes, and then I would start to assign those to specific pages based on what the intent of the user is and what the intent of my content is. Then I'm going to go and I'm going to type Wagyu beef into, what's it called here, into the Google, and I'm going to look to see what's happening. So we know that they have Google's showing us there's video results. So maybe I do want to do a video series in here and start to compete on that. We also have people also ask. So I'm going to create an article for each of these. If I don't care about the UK and I'm not going to sell there, that's not going to be important. But what does Wagyu taste like? Great topic, and that can actually pre-sell. But the reality is we want to build their trust. We want to develop ourselves as the authority on Wagyu beef. So we're going to answer it. Then I'm also going to take that 5 steps further. It tastes like this. It tastes great with ketchup and horrible with barbecue sauce. It tastes fantastic with a banana and a glass of Merlot, but you want to avoid a petite sirah and an avocado on it or something like that. And now you're really providing some good quality. And then you can actually sell a Wagyu recipe book on it. Here's all the pairings and everything else you want to do. What does Wagyu mean in English? Great. It's an informative fun fact that can attract some backlinks. It can also be put into a meme form. You can do a lot of different things. And this is a great way to find your different questions, start building out your content funnel. Here's what other people are also searching for, so you can start to develop this into a content series. The next thing we want to do is go over to answer the public. I saw someone ask that earlier. There's a lot of different tools just like this. And we can find, hold on. So basically what's going to happen here is it's going to give us a series of questions, prepositions, and topics. Each of these has a featured snippet with a rich result in the search engines. Anything with at least 1,000 searches a month as a topic or a question with at least 500 searches a month should get a dedicated page or post. You can also do an FAQ series with an H2 and an answer under each. And basically, that's because you're going to be bringing in regular traffic. So which Wagyu beef is the best? That's great. You can do a table and a chart with a different, I think it's like an A series or something. It's like A1, 2, 3 or whatever. Joe can answer that. And that way you can create a guide and a table that would answer this well. You also want an unordered list that shows the different ones and top to bottom in a definition of why each is there. Who sells Wagyu beef near me? Probably can't answer that unless you have a city base or unless you create a map of who actually carries it, an interactive one with a Google rich result, and then you could probably make money off of if it's a retail chain that has an affiliate program, you can make money off of buy it now and then pick it up at the store later, things like that. So who sells you Wagyu beef? You can do a fully detailed one with retail shops that are online, as well as people that are offline and how to find it and make sure it's quality. And you can also say, here's how to test it. And these are like different things you can do outside of the recipe. That's all in your content base. And the ones where you're going to be building up a subscriber, you would want to share recipes. You would want to share other information that is going to be something that would give a person a reason to come back. And that would go into my authority building type of content. Does that help answer that question on how I start to build out my strategies?
Yeah, definitely. I was kind of seeing. Do you want to cast put a number of different types of content out there, like some for link building, some for engagement with users, some for commercial and all that. Because what I see a lot with the sports sites we work with is they kind of just put out sports news. They want the latest information on the team, but they don't kind of delve into the other areas of content creation.
One thing also, this right here, most people would avoid this. This is perfect. If someone's typing in, I don't like Wagyu, I guess I've been saying it wrong this whole time. But if someone types that in, they're looking for alternatives. This is perfect for you. They're either going to a steakhouse or they're shopping or they're cooking. So you would do a post, alternatives to Wagyu beef that are equal or classy or something like that, and you list it out, and then you share the different facts about the marbling, about the cut, the way that they're raised, pasteurized, and you can also then say, even if you didn't like it, if this is the reason you didn't like it, it could have been that you cooked it this way, or you cut it this way and it changed the flavor. And the same thing applies to sports and sports teams. I don't like this player. Great, you don't like this player. Here's 3 more you can love. But here's the reality. So if you say you hate Mitch McConnell because maybe you're more on the left side, you could sit there and you can tell the person, well, do you realize, yes, he's done plenty of bad things, but Mitch McConnell also championed hemp, championed this, and brought that into Congress and helped to pass these good laws. Just like on the exact opposite side, you have Nancy Pelosi. A lot of people don't like Nancy Pelosi for the same reasons, but Nancy Pelosi was one of the very few people that came to represent and find a cure for AIDS, to help represent the LGBTQ community. So it's just about how do we change the person's mind and push them into like a middle ground type of thinking. I feel very strongly about meat, and I love meat, and I will eat it very regularly. I don't care who I'm around, but I can appreciate if somebody has a different opinion. It's like that's kind of the goal of those alternate things. I've sold a lot of product as an affiliate for people that when I give a bad review of a product, I also say the good parts about it because just because it didn't meet my needs doesn't mean it's not going to meet the needs of someone else. And that's the whether it's politics, whether it's food, whether it's a cell phone, for example. Like just because I want the newest greatest phone doesn't mean it's the right one for someone that's looking to buy a phone for their kid, like their first phone. They're not going to spend 1,200. Well, maybe they will, but they're looking for something in the $200 range. So even though I thought it was bad, if I say this phone is great for kids, it's durable, it's going to do this, you can also put a parental app on it to make sure they're not doing things. This is how you can actually do that and tie that in. So don't be scared of the negative stuff too. So let's see. I've made jokes about poop. I've talked politics. Said stuff about vegetarians. What have we missed here? Religion?
Pretty good coverage in one answer. That was impressive. But
Can you talk
yeah,
about vaccines at all?
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
think I actually crossed any lines, so
yeah.
I hope I didn't.
Yeah, Sharon had asked earlier about product reviews, and I think coming off what you were just talking about, I think it's funny you mentioned the negative side of it, and I actually did some work with you way back in the day with a product review that initially there was a product called the Big City Slider Station. It's like one of the Billy
Oh
Mays
yeah, I
products,
remember that.
that you
Yeah.
sold at like late night TV. Went to Affiliate Summit, found out that Adam actually worked with some people that were selling that. Ended up doing a nice steak dinner because of it, because I had like a number 2 Google ranking on that at the time because I did a positive review. 3 weeks later, I did a follow-up on that post because the coating, the nonstick coating on the thing started to peel off in the burgers that I was feeding to my kids. So I did like a pretty scathing negative comeback. I actually made more money on the negative review than I did on the positive review. And it's funny because I think that I've seen a lot of search queries where a negative answer ranks pretty well. I mean, can be number 1, number 2 around a lot of different topics, and some of them around sports. I hate this, or this, this thing sucks, or whatever, or why you shouldn't do this, why you shouldn't buy that. But talk a little bit about product reviews and what's the importance of product review content, or pitfalls or risks.
I'm sorry. Okay. Sorry. I have to respond. So I order my team and I order all of my contractors dinner at least once a month randomly and as a surprise, and the driver's outside someone's house messaging. So I just
Of
said,
course.
just leave it, ring the doorbell and leave it. You're fine. Sorry. If it was the contractor or employee, I'd just say I'd ignore, but I feel
No
bad for
worries.
the driver. It's like I don't want them to mess. It's rush hour, it's dinner time. They've got to get on. They don't have to be sitting there outside someone's door worrying. You got a luchador now.
So product reviews.
Wade will give you $5 if you tackle your buddy in that mask and do some moves.
That's worth a gift card.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a winner.
So yeah, Wade was asking about product reviews and how you go about that. I know you had a post a couple months back, awesome post about how to do product reviews and how to utilize that as part of your content.
It just goes on like there's so many different ways to use them. I mean, for me with product reviews, I don't ever just review the product because if all you do is brand plus the word review, everyone's going to be doing that and you're going to lose the ranking. If somebody's looking for like a sub pump to get the water out of their basement and they live in a flood zone, so I would instead say I would do the product review as the best way to remove leaky water from your basement. And then I would do 3 different options or 5 different options. And one of those is a sub pump. So with sports, you could do how to celebrate the 49ers versus Giants, like Super Bowl. And then you have 4 or 5 different ways you can celebrate it together. And then you make the money off the products, the decor, the food, by sending like rip apart jerseys and like shred them, cover it in like fake blood or pig's blood or whatever type of blood you want, and send it to the people that you can't celebrate with that love the team that's about to lose. It's like there's tons of like really ridiculous things you can do, and that's how you can make money with it. And what you're doing is you're creating so doing two sports teams in a Super Bowl, chances are that's not evergreen copy. But if you can find evergreen solutions and provide a solution, you've now established yourself as an authority. You're very likely going to attract backlinks naturally, and you're going to make money year round or seasonally as that comes through. So product reviews, it's I mean, you can make a lot of money in a short run for showing up for brand plus review, but if you provide solutions that involve the product, that's how I do product reviews.
Cool. We are actually at about time. Last call for questions. Yeah, there's some really good stuff in there, Adam. Totally appreciate you taking the time. It's always fun to kind of get in there and get you riffing on things. And I'd love some point down the road if we could just do kind of like a whiteboarding thing, because I think you'd blow people's minds if you took a look at some code and kind of pointed people in the right direction and showed some common issues there.
Totally sorry for I've been up I woke up at like midnight last night. I've just been up working ever since, so I'm sorry I'm like not as hyper and energetic as normal.
Awesome. Cool. Well,
Calm
thanks.
Adam is a good Adam sometimes.
Yeah. Well, let me go ahead. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to spin the wheel of prizes here. Hold on a second. And there we go. And so we will spin. Looks cooler on this side than it does on that side.
Yay, I won.
Sharon
Oh,
won.
Sharon stole it.
So we will send Sharon a gift card. And also, we'll go ahead and get Benji one for the Lucha mask, because
Thank you. Thank you.
But all right, thanks, Adam.
That's,
I appreciate it, man. I will send you a bottle of something.
so, no, don't send any liquor or wine. I overstocked and I have a Napa trip in 2 months. All good.
Trying to rest the liver up for the Napa trip. Totally cool. We'll figure it out.
No,
All
I
right.
just overflowed. Thank you.
Thanks,
I
Adam.
understand. My whiskey collection did the same thing over the whole COVID lockdown. I've got more than I know what to do with right now. But thanks everybody for coming, and thanks, Adam. I'll go ahead and see if I can get this turned around. There's a lot of notes to break out, and I'll see if I can pick Adam's brain for some of the brands that he mentioned and the tools that he mentioned, stuff like that. So, but thanks everybody for coming, and have a great weekend.